Welcome back to Plantoria Gardening. In this video, we are fixing the biggest mistakes people make when growing ginger. We are moving past the common mistakes that lead to stunted, shriveled ginger and looking at a method rooted in heritage gardening. Most people are growing zombie ginger. It looks alive in the soil, but it is chemically frozen, trapped in a state of permanent dormancy. If you've ever planted a store-bought rhizome, only to watch it sit in the dirt and rot for 6 months while you waited for a miracle, you've seen this failure firsthand. The truth is, the ginger in your pantry was likely treated with chlorprophene, a potent sprout inhibitor used by commercial farms to keep the roots looking pretty on supermarket shelves. To grow massive, arm-sized rhizomes that overflow your containers, you have to break this cycle. You must start with organic stock, the only type of ginger that hasn't been biologically silenced. Before we unlock the 48-hour wake-up protocol, hit the subscribe button and join our community of heritage growers. We are reviving forgotten methods to help you escape grocery store prices and grow food that is actually alive. Selection is your first hurdle. When you are picking your starting rhizome, ignore the small, thin pieces. You want a specimen that feels heavy for its size, firm to the touch, and plump. Look for the eyes, those small horn-like nodules or bumps on the surface. These are the growth buds. If a rhizome is smooth and flat, it has no way to sprout, no matter how much you water it. The strategy for success depends entirely on where you live. If you are in zones 9 through 12, you have the luxury of a long, warm season where you can plant directly in the ground. But for those of us in zones 3 through 8, the clock is our enemy. Our season is simply too short for ginger to reach its full potential naturally. This is why we use the deep root method, a technique designed to cheat the climate and force the plant into high-gear production. Once you have selected a healthy, organic rhizome, it's time for the 48-hour wake-up protocol. This starts with a deep rehydration soak. Place your ginger in a bowl of room-temperature water mixed with a splash of liquid seaweed or kelp extract. The seaweed contains natural hormones called cytokinins, which act as a biological alarm clock, signaling to the plant that the rainy season has arrived. Add 1 tablespoon of hydrogen peroxide for every cup of water. Ginger is a clean freak. It is incredibly susceptible to soil-borne pathogens. The peroxide acts as a natural sanitizer, killing off invisible fungal spores and bacteria that sit on the skin waiting to cause rot. After 12 hours in the soak, you must resist the urge to plant. When you cut or break ginger into smaller pieces to plant, you create an open wound. If you put that wet wound into moist soil, bacteria will colonize it within hours. Instead, take the ginger out of the water and let it air dry for at least 24 to 48 hours. You are waiting for the cut ends to form a hard, dry callus. This callus is a natural waterproof shield. Once that skin is tough and leathery, the rhizome is protected and ready for the soil. If you're finding this information valuable, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss our next video. While your ginger is callusing, we need to talk about soil architecture. Ginger is not a root that grows down like a carrot. It is a rhizome that travels horizontally, crawling just beneath the surface. This means the shape of your container is more important than the depth. A wide grow bag or a shallow wooden crate is far superior to a deep, narrow ceramic pot. The deep root secret lies in the drainage. To facilitate the kind of thick, heavy growth seen in heritage gardens, you need a mix that is rich but incredibly loose. I use a specific ratio: 40% aged leaf mold or forest compost to provide the nutrients, 30% cocoa coir to hold moisture, and 30% coarse river sand. That sand is vital. It creates the physical space for the rhizome to expand without resistance. In heavy clay soil, the ginger becomes stunted and misshapen because it has to fight the ground to grow. In a sandy, deep root mix, the ginger expands freely, resulting in those massive, smooth rhizomes we are looking for. To supercharge this mix, add a handful of bone meal. This provides a slow-release source of phosphorus, the specific mineral responsible for underground mass and root development. Now that your soil is prepped and your rhizomes are calloused, it is time to address the most controversial part of this process, the planting depth. Even experienced gardeners often get this wrong, burying their ginger 4 or 5 inches deep. This is a fatal error. Ginger needs the warmth of the upper soil layers to trigger its metabolism. You must plant your rhizomes only 1 to 2 inches deep. Place them into your deep root mix, with the growth buds pointing directly toward the sky. If you flip them over, the plant has to waste weeks of energy trying to turn its shoots around. Cover them gently and press down softly to ensure there are no large air pockets. If you are in a cooler climate, specifically zones 3 through 7, the ambient air temperature is not enough. Ginger will not sprout unless the soil temperature hits 75 degrees. Place your container on a seedling heat mat or on top of a warm appliance like a refrigerator. Once you see that first green spike pierce the surface, the deep root engine has started. At this stage, we must move to the tropical rain watering philosophy. Ginger is a jungle plant. It loves water, but hates wet feet. Think of your soil like a wrung-out sponge. It should feel damp throughout, but if you squeeze a handful and water drips out, it is far too wet. To encourage the heaviest possible rhizome mass, use bottom watering. Place your container in a shallow tray of water for 30 minutes, allowing the soil to pull moisture upward. This keeps the surface dry, preventing fungus gnats and surface mold, while training the roots to reach deep into the nutrient-rich sand at the bottom of your pot. Before we move into the Bandit Harvest secret, hit that subscribe button. We are dedicated to reviving these high-yield heritage techniques so you can fill your pantry for free. As your ginger grows, it becomes a hungry feeder. Every 3 weeks, give your plants a liquid feed. A diluted compost tea is ideal, but if you use a commercial fertilizer, ensure it is low in nitrogen and high in potassium. High nitrogen will give you beautiful green leaves, but it won't give you massive roots. Potassium is the key to plant vigor and the density of the rhizome itself. Throughout the growing season, remember that ginger is a shade dweller. It wants bright, indirect light, not the scorching midday sun. If the edges of your leaves start to turn brown and crispy, move it to a spot where it gets gentle morning light and dappled shade for the rest of the day. Around month 5, your ginger will be vibrant. This is when we perform the Bandit Harvest. Most people believe you have to wait 10 months to enjoy your hard work, but heritage growers know better. Reach under the mulch at the edge of your container and gently feel around the top inch of soil. When you find a firm finger of ginger extending from the main mass, snap it off. This is baby ginger. It is creamy, pink-tinged, and so tender that it has no tough skin to peel. By taking these small pieces throughout the season, you provide fresh ingredients for your kitchen without slowing down the primary harvest. If you think the Bandit Harvest is a game changer, hit subscribe. Drop a comment. Are you a patience grower or a bandit grower? As your season progresses into the final months, the lush green stalks will begin to lose their vibrancy, and the lower leaves will turn golden yellow. This is the signal that the cycle is nearing completion. The plant is pulling all its liquid energy out of the foliage and packing it into the rhizomes. At this point, back off on the watering. Let the soil dry out significantly. This stress forces the ginger to toughen its skin and concentrate its essential oils, leading to a much more potent harvest. When the foliage finally dies back and falls over, the journey is complete. Reach into the loose, sandy mix and lift the entire mass. If you have followed the deep root architecture, you won't just find a few scattered pieces. You will find a heavy, interconnected web of ginger that has filled every horizontal inch of your container. Brush the soil off gently. Do not wash the rhizomes until you are ready to use them, as the natural soil dust helps preserve the skin during storage. Hit that subscribe button one last time. We are here to ensure you never have to rely on overpriced, chemically treated grocery store produce again. Also, I want to see your results. Tell me in the comments how much ginger you were able to pull from your very first deep root container. The beauty of this method is the perpetual ginger loop. Out of your harvest, select the largest, firmest, and most eye-heavy rhizomes. These are your elite genetics. Do not eat these pieces. Store them in a cool, dark, and dry place. These will be your mother roots for next season. By replanting your own stock year after year, you are participating in an ancient form of selective breeding. You are creating a strain of ginger that is uniquely adapted to your home's specific environment. Freshly harvested ginger can be kept in the refrigerator for weeks, but for long-term food security, you can freeze the rhizomes whole. They actually grate much easier when they are frozen, and they retain 100% of their medicinal and culinary potency. Growing your own food is the ultimate act of self-reliance. Ginger asks for very little, just the right soil, a bit of warmth, and the patience to let it travel. Now that you have the deep root blueprint, the grocery store ginger aisle should be a thing of the past for you. How much did you spend on ginger at the store last year? Drop that number in the comments below, and let's calculate how much this one container is going to save you. If you found this guide helpful, hit the bell icon and watch our next video on the forgotten history of heritage garlic. Get your hands in the soil and trust the process. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.